Terence Stamp refuses to watch the new Superman movies. At 87 he won't even discuss Man of Steel or Henry Cavill's version, but it's not about ego or nostalgia. There's something darker behind his silence. His years in a controversial Indian cult changed how he saw the Superman role. His spiritual transformation revealed secrets about the franchise that disturbed him deeply, and his final confession about what Superman really meant to him explains why he stayed quiet for so long. Terence Henry Stamp was born on July 22, 1938 in Stephanie, one of the poorest parts of East London. His father worked as a tugboat store on the Thames and his mother scrubbed laundry for shillings. The family lived in a small terrace house with no central heating and shared a single outdoor toilet with several other families. Winters were bitterly cold and the children often slept three to a bed under old coats because they didn't have proper blankets. Life was harsh and every day was a fight to get by. By the time Terence was 5, the war had already left its mark on London. In 1943, a delayed action bomb exploded only 3 streets away, blowing out every window in their house. He remembered diving under a shaky kitchen table while his mother shouted prayers above the deafening blast. 7 of their neighbors were killed and the shop on the corner was reduced to rubble. The fear stayed with him for years. He had nightmares, wet the bed whenever the sirens went off during drills, and spent 47 nights sleeping in freezing underground stations as the bombing dragged on. Those nights planted the seeds of the spiritual search he would carry with him all his life. At 11 he managed to win a place at PTO County Grammar School, a rare achievement for a working-class boy. But instead of thriving, he shocked everyone by skipping 73 school days in his second year. He snuck into cinemas, spending whole afternoons watching stars like Gary Cooper and James Stewart. He studied the way they moved and spoke, copying every detail. When the school finally caught him, the headmaster caned him across the knuckles 12 times. His parents were crushed since grammar school had been their hope of escaping poverty. But in 1951, when he played Puck in A Midsummer Night's Dream, the local paper called his performance unnaturally compelling for such a young performer. For the first time he felt a sense of direction. Money was always short, and by 13 Terence had to work before and after school. Each morning at 4:30, he delivered newspapers around Stephanie for 2 shillings and 6p a week. In the afternoons he helped his mother at the laundry, hauling 20 pounds baskets of soaking clothes and running the heavy mangle machines that often caught fingers. At school he became a target. His delicate looks made him an easy victim, and bullies mocked him with names like Nancy Boy. Once 5 older boys dragged him behind the gym, shoved his head into a toilet and flushed it while laughing. He came home with bruised ribs and a split lip, but there was no money for a doctor. Ironically, the very features that brought him so much pain as a boy would later make him a screen idol admired by millions. When he turned 15, Terence secretly auditioned for the Webber Douglas Academy of Dramatic Art. He paid for the trip to central London with money saved from newspaper rounds, carrying a worn copy of Hamlet. But the panel dismissed him within 90 seconds because of his thick Cockney accent. One examiner even told him, "We train actors, not dock workers." Refusing to give up, he found a retired actress named Miss Penelope Hartwell who gave him illusion lessons for 1 shilling each. For 18 months he practiced every day, 2 hours at a time. The hard work paid off. His accent softened, his voice became precise, and he developed the polished sound that would later set him apart on stage and screen. By the time he was 18 in 1956, Terence finally enrolled at the Webber Douglas Academy, paying his way with scholarships and exhausting part-time jobs like dishwashing and construction. His tutors trained him for 12 hours a day in movement, voice, and classical performance. But instead of celebrating his progress, many dismissed him because of his looks. One instructor bluntly said audiences would never accept someone as handsome as him in roles like Hamlet. Fellow students nicknamed him Golden Boy, not as praise but as a mockery. The constant criticism cut deep, yet it also fueled his determination to prove he was more than a pretty face. His first real break came in 1959 with a small role in The Long and the Short and the Tall at the Royal Court Theatre. At just 21, he caused a stir by demanding $15 a week, the same as seasoned cast members. Producers were shocked and newspapers called him arrogant. He settled for $8, still more than most newcomers, but his boldness left a lasting impression. The incident branded him as difficult, yet it also showed he refused to undervalue himself. In 1960, he auditioned for Peterov's Billy Budd. Against 300 other hopefuls, Terence stayed awake all night before his call back, memorizing the entire 120-page script. His effort stunned who gave him the role on the spot. But his triumph came with a price. Older actors on set put him through brutal hazing. Once they locked him inside a trailer for 6 hours in sweltering heat, claiming it was a tradition. They hid his script pages and spread rumors that he was being replaced. Terence endured it all without complaint, knowing that proving himself was the only way to be accepted. Even after that success, poverty clung to him. He lived in a cramped Bloomsbury basement with 3 other actors, eating mostly beans on toast for 2 shillings a day. The flat had no heating or hot water, and in the coldest months, he washed in freezing water from a shared sink. When he auditioned for the Royal Shakespeare Company, he delivered what he believed was his best ever